So, good afternoon everyone. So, I am Karen Avilas and these are my report, which is also the general suggestion for writing assessment task and test items. So, we have here the selective type of test, which included here is the alternative response test. So, when we say alternative response test, it is consists of a declarative statements that the student is asked to mark true or false, right or wrong, correct or incorrect, yes or no, fact or opinion, agree or disagree, or the like. So that is the alternative response test, which the teacher will put some question and the student's response will be true or false, yes or no. So it's like that. So we have here the suggestion or the general suggestion for writing assessment task and test item for the alternative response test. So we have here first the avoid broad, trivial statements and use of negative words, especially double negative. So we shouldn't be writing some long sentences or some long statements, or you can also use some long statement but avoid some broad statements kung saan is parang komplikado na siya, na hindi na siya ganon kalapit dun sa topic, nagiging broad na yung statement na nilalagay natin. So when we say trivial statements naman, it is the ones that add very little new content about the topic. So we should avoid using trivial statement then, kasi parang nagkakaroon ng panibagong content yung topic na nilagay mo or yung nilagay mo na question, 'di ba? So also avoid use of negative words, especially double negative. So ayun, for the first is avoid broad, trivial statement and use of negative words, especially double negatives. So the next one is avoid long and complex sentence. So ayun nga, 'di ba, sinabi ko kanina na we shouldn't write some long sentences and also the complex sentence. So when we say complex sentence naman, it is a sentence with one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. So it is work best when you need to provide more information to explain or modify your sentence main point. And ayun nga, hindi naman tayo nag-explain ng pinakang main point. We are just putting some question which will be answered by this yes or no by the student. So we shouldn't be able to write or put complex sentence in our test questionnaires or in our test items. So that is for letter B, avoid long and complex sentences. So letter C, avoid multiple facts or including two ideas in one statement unless cause or effect relationship is being measured. So when we say multiple facts, so it is a lot of facts, diba? It is a lot of ideas. So we shouldn't be able to write some multiple facts or including two ideas in one statement unless nga daw if it is cause or effect relationship yung minimeasure. For example naman ng cause and effect relationship, for example is you ate and then after you eat you gain weight. So that is the cause and effect relationship. You eat and then the effect is you gain weight. Diba? Unless ganun yung min-measure ng iyong statement, then it will be fine. It would be fine. As long as cause and effect relationship daw yung min-measure, then it's okay. So we need, in writing a alternative response test, we need to avoid multiple facts or including two ideas in one statement. So ayun nga. So letter D, if opinion is used, attributed to some source unless the ability to identify opinion is being specifically measured. So, sa mga test items na ginagawa ng mga teachers, syempre meron dong mga opinions. But when we use opinions in our alternative responses, we should also include some source or some facts na makakapag prove nung opinion natin na yon. Although it is an opinion, pero kailangan pa rin natin ng source. Kasi nga 'di ba, a fact is a statement that can be proven true or false. So we need some source or we need some facts na kung saan is makakapag what is that word again? Makakapag-prove ng opinion na yon. So, di ba nga kasi yung opinions can be based on emotion, sometimes they are meant to deliberately mislead others. So, that is why we also need to have some source para masagot ng mga estudyante yung questions. So, letter E, use proportional number of true statements and false statements. So, we need to be proportion. We need to be balanced when making a true or false statements. Hindi pwedeng lahat is true and lahat ng numbers 1 to 10 items is lahat false or lahat true. Hindi pwedeng ganun. We need to be balanced. There's for example, it is 10 items and then the 5 of them are true and the 5 of them are false. Okay? Or you can also use some patterns on how are you going to para makapag-isip yung mga estudyante mo, logical thinking, 'di ba? So, yeah, we need to use proportional number of true statements and false statements. So the last one in suggestions here in the alternative response test is true statements and false statements should be approximately equal in length. So it is also similar in the proportional number or in the letter E that yung true statements natin and yung false statement natin should be approximately equal in length. It should be balanced. Na kailangan is kung ilan yung number ng true natin is ganun din yung number ng false statements natin. So, it should be balanced. So, para maging equal sila ng length. Or, pag sa sentences naman, equal in length sentence, kailangan talaga na mame-measure yung questions para magkaroon ng response yung students natin. So, that is the the selective type of test which is included here is the alternative response test. So, we have here some suggestion which are avoid broad trivial statement and use of negative words, especially double negatives, avoid long and complex sentence, avoid multiple facts or including two ideas in one statement unless cause-effect relationship is being measured. If opinion is used, attribute it to some source unless the ability to identify opinion is being specifically measured. Or next is use proportional number of true statements and false statements. And the last one is true statements and false statements should be approximately equal in length. Okay, so we have here the second selective type of test, which is the matching type. So these are the general suggestion when we are writing some assessment or the type of test. So we have here the matching type. The first one is use only homogeneous materials in a single matching exercise. So ayun nga do, kapag when we are writing or when we are making some tests which is specifically the matching type of test, kailangan lang natin gumamit ng mga homogeneous materials, which is kailangan lang natin ilagay kung ano yung topic na dapat nating ilagay in that part. For example, dun sa column A natin is nandun yung questions. Yung questions na ilalagay natin. Or for example, dun sa column A na yon, maglalagay tayo ng psychologist. And then, yung psychologist na yon is kailangan nating i-identify kung ano yung contribution nila or yung theory na nagawa nila. So, ilalagay natin for example, dun sa column A is, yun nga yung pangalan ng mga psychologists. And then, dun sa column B is kailangan nating ilagay yung mga theory nila. And then, in that case, ayan, magsisimula na yung matching type of test natin. Kasi, diba, parang dun. And then, kaya kailangan natin gumamit ng homogeneous materials lang is because may mga instances na, syempre, di ba, kapag nagsasagot yung mga estudyante o yung kusino, yung mga estudyante, kapag hindi ka kabilang dun sa topic na yung ilalagay natin or dun sa answer, is syempre hindi na nila iisipin kasi alam nila na hindi kasama yun, di ba? Kasi wala yun dun eh. Hindi siya kasama. Bali parang ibang topic na siya. So, hindi nagkakaroon ng thrill or alam na nila agad na hindi kasama yon sa pamimilian. So, kahit panglito siya, baliwala. Kasi alam nila na hindi siya kasali sa topic. That's why we need to use only homogeneous materials in a single matching exercise. So, the second one is include an equal number of responses and premises and instruct the pupil that responses may be used once, more than once, or not at all. So, dito naman sa letter B, ayun nga, 'di ba? May times na hindi naman na may times. So, when we are making some matching type of test, so kailangan natin magkaroon ng pasobra lalo na sa answers. 'Di ba? May mga ganun. Like, for example, yung matching type of test natin is 10 items. 10 items siya. Tapos, minsan, di ba may makikita natin tayo sa mga questions na yung answers niya or dun sa pamimilian natin is 12 items or 11, di ba ganun? So, may panggulo na dalawa or isa. And then, ayun nga, kailangan daw natin na magganon. And kailangan din natin i-instruct yung mga learners, yung mga estudyante na kung may mauulit ba na sagot doon sa ating matching type of test, kung wala ba yung sagot na yan. Parang i-ano lang natin na instruct lang natin sila. 'Di ba? Para mas maintindihan nilang mabuti. Okay, now let's proceed to the letter D. Ay, hindi pala to. Letter C pala. Okay, let's now proceed to the letter C. So we have here to give the list of items to be much brief and place the shorter responses at night. So, when we say, yun nga sa letter C, kailangan natin, yun nga parang sinabi ko lang din siya sa letter E, which is yung kailangan natin na i-match yung ating questions and then dun sa responses natin, 'di ba? So ayun nga yung parang dapat yung sa questions natin is maikli lang siya dapat talaga. For example, is hindi naman ganoon kaikli. 'Di ba may times lang talaga na depende kung ano yung ginagawa, kung paano ginawa ng teachers natin. So, may instances na, yun nga sa for example ko kanina is psychologies, or minsan naman is ang ginagawa ng iba is mas mahaba yung responses, mas mahaba yung questions dun sa responses natin. And then, meron din naman nangyayari na mas mahaba yung ating responses dun sa ating questions. So, yun yung pero yun nga, kailangan lang nating i-list yung mga items and kailangan mag-match talaga sila. So, that's it. And sa letter D is arrange the list of responses in logical order. So, when we say logical order, diba, there's a lot of types ng logical order. So, we have the chronological order and madami pa siya. So, dito naman is, hindi naman sinasabi na we should have put them in chronological order. Kasi 'di ba hindi naman ganoon sa matching type of test. Siguro yung sinasabi natin is dito is kailangan lang talaga natin siyang i-arrange for us to identify the answer. 'Di ba? May mga ganoon or may mga alam niyo yun, 'di ba may mga kumbaga parang may mga clue na binibigay yung mga teachers natin when it comes in matching type. So, ayun, kailangan lang natin i-arrange yung list of responses in logical order. So, when we say responses nga, diba, ayun yung answers natin. Diba yung sa question and then the responses or the answer dun sa question na yun or yun na parang nakalagay sa column B. So, in letter E naman, Indicate in the direction the base for matching the responses and premises. So dito, syempre, ano na ito, basic na or alam na natin to talaga. But may mga student talaga na hindi sila masyadong marunong umunawa ng direction. So, ayun nga. Syempre, as a teacher, we need to indicate in the test the direction. Kasi kapag hindi, mahihirapan silang identify kung paano ba yung gagawin nila. Kung ano ba yung dapat nilang gawin in that specific type of test. And syempre dito sa matching type, diba? Madaming pwede tayong gawin dito. Pwede yung may mga, yung nagguguhit-guhit tayo, like, pinagtatapat-tapat natin sila using lines. And then, may mga teachers naman ang gagawin is, we just need to put the letter before the number. So, diba may mga ganon na mga matching types. So, it really depends kung paano, kung ano yung direction na naka-indicate dun sa type of test. So, okay. So, letter F. Place all the items for one matching exercise on the same page. So, ayun. Kailangan is nasa isang page lang yung ating matching exercise. Kasi parang ang hirap din naman as a student na parang, syempre as a teacher, mahirap din siya, diba? Although, meron na tayong key correction, diba? Meron na tayong sagot talaga. Pero, yun nga, as a student, may hirapan sila na parang pabalik-balik sila na hanapin kung nasan yung sagot. Lalo na't magkaiba ng page, diba? Ang hirap na, for example, yung question is nasa page 1 and then yung responses natin is nasa page 2. So, ang mangyayari, ang buklat pa sila ng buklat para masagutan nila yung matching exercise. So, kailangan is, yun nga, place all the item for one matching exercise on the same page. So, we have here the last general suggestions for writing assessment or type of test. So, we have here the last for the matching type, which is the limit a matching exercise to not more than 10 to 15 items. So, ayun nga, when we are making a matching type of test, kailangan nating i-limit yung items na ilalagay natin in that test. So, ayun daw, parang pinakang maximum na yung 10 to 15 items. Kasi hindi naman natin kailangan na sobrang haba talaga ng matching type natin. Kasi, there's a lot of type of test pa naman na we can do when we are writing or when we are doing a test. Diba? Kailangan lang natin, kasi parang mas mahihirapan tayong identify pag sobrang dami na nung test items dun sa matching type natin. Kasi parang mas magugulo siya. Siguro depende na lang din sa teacher. Pero yun nga, as a general suggestion, in writing a type of test, lalo na dito sa matching type of test, is ang pinaka-maximum talaga natin or kailangan lang talaga nating i-limit yung ating matching exercise to not more than 10 to 15 items. So, siguro parang mas madali talaga nating ma-identify kung ano yung ating responses in particular questions. So, that is for the selective type of test, which is the alternative response test, and for the matching type of test. So, these are the general suggestions for writing assessment or writing a type of test. So, thank you all for listening. I hope you gain some knowledge in this report. So, that's all. Thank you.